Hi guys, how are you? I am making this podcast this time to talk about the thesis project in car design or even in product design. But before we talk about this, let me give you an announcement. I am also on Spotify with podcast. The channel is called Car Design Tips. Luciano Bove. So you can, if you wish, you can find me there. Maybe it's gonna be easier for you to listen to those podcasts. So let's talk about the thesis project. Lately, I've seen a couple of thesis projects from two students. They come from two different design schools. One is a more traditional public design school, and the other one is a private design school. Okay, so one it's more on the type of very classical, and the other one it's more a little bit more up to date. What is going on really in the business world and how we prepare students to get into the job world kind of fast and with the right quality and ready to go. The first person from the public school was showing a sort of dossier, a file like that, and it was saying, "Hi, here I have my thesis project." So I said, "Oh, let me see. I'm very curious." And they were all white pages with lots of sketches and stuff cut by scissors, very uneven. Sketches, to be honest, were not very extremely nice. But anyway, and they were all glued on those paper, A4 format. And it was like this, very thick, because of course, when you glue on A4 format cardboards, very quickly, your volume goes up. And there were no final illustration. It was just story, lots of writing, and then this car is doing this, has this option. It's making life better for people, for the family, because of this, because of that. So it reminded me a little bit when I was in high school in Italy, not in America, but in Italy, where we used to do those type of projects. To be honest, they were very sad. That's the first one. Then the second one, it's the student that comes from the private design school. And of course, he has a project that is much better structure, He's following a planning. He has 6 months to do it. So the person has a thesis project, has a title, has a short briefing, showing me sketches, a mood board, inspiration, design, trends, stuff like that. And then development, kind of quick freehand sketches, and then it goes straight into Photoshop with some nice illustrations, alias model, 3D model, virtual model. And for me, it's much better to give credits to B than the person A. Because to me, the person A, it's like it missed the opportunity really to understand what you do when you have to make a thesis project. Because thesis project, it's a specific project. I don't think that B did an excellent job. Let's say it. Because now I have a little thing here, like a checklist. The most important thing is to take care when we make a thesis project. So thesis project is different than a car design project done in school. Maybe it's closer to sponsor project. So sponsor project, you have the client, and when they pay money to the school, of course, you want to make sure that what you are producing as a school, what you offer, it's a whole series of projects really well done, kind of complete, so that the client is happy and saying, you know what, we really spent well this money. We came in 3-4 times during those 6 months. We gave our feedbacks. We made them present. There was a very interesting interaction. So all that stuff is nice. It's very professional. The thesis project is like this type of project. It's like a sponsor project, but in most of the cases, sponsorized by yourself because you don't have a sponsor. Some cases, students go and look for a sponsor for their thesis project. What do we do? How do we organize a thesis project? So, first of all, we said it's a specific project. So it needs a specific attention. It needs a specific design and management approach. Because don't forget, when you thesis project, it's something big. It's bigger, it's deeper. You go really sometimes into real details to use, all that knowledge to better prepare your storytelling. to better know how to develop your design so that it's a winner project. We said we go very deeply into the subject. First of all, we need to do some benchmarking. We have to do a serious benchmarking. It's putting together several countries where we have to study this type of vehicle, if it's a vehicle, or product, if it's a product, what type of niche market those products or those cars are in, which is the average cost that people are ready to pay, to buy it, what type of clients they are. Are they clients like you, like me, or are they clients that are much luckier because they have a lot of money? Or is the contrary, people that are worse than me, maybe you, because they don't really have that much money, but they still need to use that product or that car, maybe for work, We have to study the client inside the market, understand the revenue, how much money they can use to pay that product or that car. Then we have to understand that if we make that type of project, we have to give hypothetically an average cost. How much would it cost? I mean, if you tomorrow go, in a shop or in a car dealer, you say, I want that car or that van. How much money are you willing to pay? Knowing your client, because you studied the niche client. When you put all those information together, you can organize all this. That's a real design management. That's the design management approach in organizing a project, in understanding how you can make a project, trying not to deviate too much from the right track. And then with all those information, you can start your research, your brainstorming. So we get into the conception. So now you are talking what we really paid for. Make the car, design the product. We had to think. Because if it's true that in a brainstorming, we can do whatever we want, because it's the moment we have to be free, mentally free to explore. It is also true that after a couple of weeks of this freedom, we have to come down to business. We have to pick up the good ideas that probably will not be many. And then on top of those, we have to choose the right one or two ideas and start a sort of concept choice development, put them in competition, and let's start working on them. And here it's useless I tell you what it means. It means that we have to draw, we have to develop, we have to do all our beautiful handmade sketches. Don't forget freehand sketches, okay? We get to Photoshop and digital art just a little bit later, but this step, we have to use our hands. Get your hands dirty. We find the right proportion, the right content, and we assume that the price for which I'm ready to pay, our project looks like it's in that price range, looking the way you designed. So when we do all that, then it's the moment we take the choice, we choose one of the two, and we make the final development. Final development, it goes on two parallel roads, okay? The first one is that we have to make that sketch, that final, research that we made on a package, okay? There is a video talking about package design on my YouTube channel. Go and check it out because it's really full of all the most important information. So we put this on the package. We control the proportions, because when you put on the package an original idea, if you didn't start with the correct proportion, it's a little bit complicated. But anyway, you have to do the best you can to have the very good solid proportions on that package. And then you develop a 3D virtual model or a manual model. There are a lot of people that do lots of clay, which I love, and a lot of people that go straight in on Alias, Reno, or other software, to do it in virtual. Either way, in my opinion, if you're a student, it's much better you do in clay, because you learn with your hands what does it mean, a form change, volume change, to solve a problem in terms of those knots, that come into the crossing of a pillar, hood, side fender. Those are the most complicated parts, especially if you don't have experience. So if you are able to work on clay, you can do a clay model. It's a beautiful experience. I have done that several times, and every time I always enjoy. We use that model to make, of course, nice illustrations, good perspective, use Wiscom or AI or whatever to make some changes, to optimize, to make beautiful, extremely beautiful renderings with great scenarios. But then we use 3D virtual model to prepare our short film, because this is very important. Because the film should be the first thing you show if you are with your computer and you are presenting your thesis project. Because that short film of 1 minute, I always suggest not to go over 1 minute. It's your storytelling. It's the moment of seduction. It's sexy. It's the moment where you are selling. You are selling your concept, your idea. It's the moment where they should fall in love, with that project. And after you can show, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this final exercise? And there you can go and then you start. You have your mood boards with all the information inside that we said before, the infos, the benchmarking, social trends, the client niche, all the average cost, what type of client, etc., etc. And then you go on and say, from brainstorming, we choose 2 concepts, and then you go all the way until the end, and you have your model. If you have your physical model, you will present your physical model. You have only the 3D virtual model, you will have on your screen, you will have all the illustrations, all the images. Maybe you have a short film moving, the turntable showing the car that is going 360 degrees so that we can see every side. Maybe you made short videos of 5-10 seconds to show other parts or other views. It's all this. So when we come back to the subject of this afternoon, what is a thesis project? This is a thesis project. This is an honest, serious thesis project development. It shows that you care. It shows that you have material. It shows that you worked. It shows you did research. It shows you are really damn serious about this. It shows that you behave like a professional designer, like a freelancer. Those that, especially at the beginning of their career, they have to do everything. They have clients, and they have to, manage, how they're gonna make their projects. This is it. I think that I said it all. I hope you like this podcast. I hope most of all that this can be really useful to you if you are ready to prepare a thesis project. If next year you have to work on your thesis project, or if you have one and you feel that it's a little poor, well, with this podcast I gave you some ideas, some tips. Okay, put your like or subscribe, whether we are on YouTube or Spotify. Please do. That would be great, especially on Spotify, because I'm so new, so young on Spotify. There's nobody yet watching. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good time. Have a good end of the week. Ciao.